and I'll start sharing the screen. Right, if everyone can see that.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Is that a yes or a no? Okay, welcome everyone to the meeting of the archive work group. Today is Wednesday the 29th, and Singularity Net Archive contains a history of the activities of the Singularity Net program. And our goal is to provide a collaborative platform for the Singularity Net Archive community to share knowledge, ideas, and best practices. And we will welcome contributions from anyone interested in Singularity Net, whether it's a new project, code example, or documentation. We run our meetings from a GitHub project board. Each task or item is an issue. As you can see here, we have a meeting issue. And we will record action items. I will amend who's present and add any notes that are pertinent to the entire meeting on this issue. But we work mainly from this project board, and I put it into order where your tool development issue will come first or second, actually, Andre. But before that, I'll just go in order and start with the governance Git book, which I don't think we have an update on, do we?
No, I think we're kind of thinking of this as something that will go into Q1 next year because, there's stuff to do on it, but I don't think our budget for this quarter can cover it.
Right, okay.
So what I'm envisaging is like one major update early next year. And of course, it does depend on, the stuff about Oh, there is a bit of update, actually. I think with the updating of the deep funding focus group stuff, Jan, I think, is going to create a deep funding Git book, and that's where it will go. But there's nothing to stop it being copied here as well, because I think, it is kind of governance related, and I think there is some crossover. If I remember rightly, Peter, Jan said that you were kind of quite keen to keep them separate, which I totally get. But I also think it'd be quite good to have that information or even just link to it when Jan creates a deep funding Git book.
yeah, I would say it's an access thing mostly. Like from organizational perspective, having everything Singularity Net and ecosystem related in one place would be best.
Yeah.
But by definition, to give deep funding community members access to ambassador stuff and the other way around, that would be my main argument there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Proper way of sorting it. I'm all for combining.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about combining. I think just maybe copying things into different places. I mean, what I'm particularly thinking of actually is the deep funding focus groups listening sessions. The documentation of them at the moment is kind of flapping around with nowhere to sit. So I kind of thought for temporarily, early next year, I could bring it into the governance Git book because it's governance and it's interesting in terms of not necessarily the specifics, but the kind of the fact that it is about governance issues, which could also apply in ambassadors.
Right, so the thought is to
yeah, if you can just add Stephen into that, the point
yeah.
that Peter's making is that it's about access for note taking and for what am I saying? It's about which team has access to which Git book.
Right.
We wouldn't want crossover, too much crossover or people not being able to access things that they need to be able to update.
Yeah. and something we need to consider. Okay.
Yeah.
But in general, Q1 is where you'll do a kind of further consideration of what to update. Yeah.
I think it's just going to be one big chunky update, and I'll try and do it kind of early January. I think I need to have a look at where the governance work group is at, what's happening with the stuff that's on there now, which is in relation to the that governance doc that Felix created, and we created links out to documents. Might also be worth assessing if anyone's commented via those, because I don't think they have. We could have socialized it a bit better, but yeah, the whole point of that was to try and get around the fact that people find because there's costs associated with people commenting directly in a Gitbook, and people tend to find GitHub and Gitbook a bit alienating. So that's why we did it on Docs.
Yeah, I can see the issue of different sources of information, because I suppose on the one hand, you need to be clear about what kind of information is where, like deep funding and stuff like that. And at the same time, so people, and also, that kind of balances out with a single source of truth, doesn't it? Because you need to know the challenge that we all face is, where do we go for information? And I suppose that is we can address some of that in onboarding, I suppose, isn't it? Through the like where you arrive at the Discord server, and you've got the hi Felix, by the way. I know it's
Oh, hi Felix.
And I don't know what you think about this, Peter. Is also, is the updates that you provide on Twitter and so on. It's just, we need to keep an eye on that. Like, where do people go for what information?
You mean that's from foundation side?
No, from Ambassadors program. I'm thinking like so that we are. I suppose we already are alert to that, in the sense that, I don't know. It came out a little bit actually in the supervisory council thing, like where is a single source of information? I suppose it's about our input into that, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it in chat as well, and Fanny is aware. So the TAFO is having a knowledge-based work group which aims at collecting and auditing if documents should be included in Gitbook, these kind of things. So there's a clear overlap here.
Yeah, if you could just, nice one. I mean, I've been trying to get to the knowledge-based meetings, and I've failed every bloody time, but I know, Andre, you go, so maybe we could, at some point early in the new year, we could have a little chat about, and with TiVo as well, about how to include that stuff.
Yeah, sure. That's a nice compliment, as you say, Peter and Vanessa. So it would make sense for us to compare notes on that and to collaborate. Okay, should we move on from governance? Actually, Felix is here because you're involved in the governance work group. Do you have any comment on documentation of governance work group, Felix?
It's horrible right now.
Right, minute that.
Okay, Felix says it's horrible. Okay. No, really, is there anything? I mean, to recap, I mean, Vanessa said that we'll return to this in Q1 2024, and keep an eye on what's been, hopefully it will move from horrible to better, and we can incorporate any changes in the new year. Is that okay, Felix?
See, the thing is, Felix, that it's like the ongoing documentation which goes into the archive is one thing, but the governance Gitbook is more of a fixed thing. So I'll probably need to pick your brains a little bit at some point about what you want to see in there.
And also, it's about where is the appropriate source of the information, as Peter mentioned about the knowledge-based work group. So I suppose that's what we need to flesh out, is maybe it's more of a knowledge base issue.
Yeah, this is actually, so just before we close that, I was just thinking that there has been conversations. I think Fly has been quite instrumental in these about governance education. You know, where can you find information about what a contribution system is or how a token works or whatever? We can't aim to cover all of that, obviously, but I think there should be some pointers for people.
Right.
And on Yika, maybe this is actually something we can think about with their onboarding work group in the new year. Like, what kind of knowledge and information do people want when they're new about governance? Because the governance Gitbook could be a place that some of that could sit.
Any comments on that?
Just think about what the governance workgroup can provide for information. For example, like the one person, one vote experiment, which we
Yeah.
have today. Writing a report anyway for this
great.
one, and this might be something maybe what what we can feed into the.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be great. Yeah, it should be kind of a community resource, this Gitbook, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Okay, if there's we had quite a discussion on that, so I'll update that and we'll move on. It's still a bit in the air, but yeah, there's some good pointers there to how we can progress. Okay, getting on to again, this is the issue for November for work on tool development, Andre. So would you like to give us an update at all?
Yeah. So me and Vanessa met a while back and then discussed some improvements, and she helped connect me with UBO. So I did some of those improvements and I met with UBO, and he said he's quite skilled in the AI side of things. So one thing that we could do is I could give him access to all the data and he can build the AI side of things. So I created an API that he can connect to, and I've already sent it to him. And then I think it would maybe make sense to, I suppose it would make sense to invite him to these meetings.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned these meetings to him before, but I think he might have a clash. I'll check again.
Oh, okay. So I think that would actually help me a lot if he can build on top of that and handle that side of the tool.
Okay, so you're doing that asynchronously with UBO, Andre, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
And I suppose we need to meet again, Vanessa, to just go through the UI again.
Yeah, definitely. I've been really lax. I should have been like tweaking and testing and looking at it, but also Onyeka has been using it as, you know, we said that we'd use onboarding work group as a kind of testing ground for it. So Onyeka had some feedback which we've discussed, but which I haven't passed on to you, which is horribly lax of me, and I apologize to both of you. But yeah, maybe when we meet, maybe Onyeka, if you'd like to join, and then we can discuss what you found in actually using it. I'm not sure if he's actually hopped away.
Yeah,
Okay.
shoot.
He's in the meeting, but I don't think he's hearing. So yeah, I'll ask him later if he's not here.
I'm here.
Oh,
So, that issue.
can't hear you, sorry.
I'm here.
All right, nice one.
Let's talk about it.
Can I send an invite when to meet?
Yeah,
to
brilliant.
both of you? Okay, I'll do that.
Cheers.
So you're going to
Mm.
meet to discuss further the UI.
Yes.
Yeah.
UI improvements and testing, I suppose.
Another thing I was going to mention on this is that I think it was in the archives Discord, Rojo said that he was, obviously keen to be using it when it's ready. And I wondered if maybe we should ask him if he would test it with the video workgroup documentation.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good.
Having another type of group testing it would be good, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely.
That's with the video work group and stuff like that. Yeah. Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's really for the next few weeks, then, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. If there's any other, you have you encountered any blockers or issues, Andre, or is it still going okay?
It's still going okay. Can't think of anything now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Cool. And move on to the next one, which is this is a bit of an old issue, but publicising archive workgroup meetings.
Oh, we're doing so well on that, aren't we?
Yeah, we're not doing very well, I must admit. Yeah. So
yeah, I think we need to prioritize this a little bit more. I tend to, like I couldn't make town hall last night. I haven't even posted in Discord. Yeah. So we've got this idea of a town hall, and Peter, as far as I know, there's not really time in a lot of the town halls to do like a presentation, is there?
Well, it really depends. Usually half of our slot is taken by the workgroup updates, and then that leaves 30 minutes for basically the topics. But yeah, that's not a lot. Yeah.
Oh, it's enough. I think it's enough. We're not aiming to teach people everything about it. It's just more like showing people how it's working.
I mean, I suppose the situation we have an outstanding task. I'm not going to do an update because if there's an outstanding task, that's an outstanding task. So unfortunately, yeah, I mean, a lot of people involved in the ambassadors and all that are very busy. There's also catalyst proposals as well going on at the moment, which isn't helpful. So what sort of timescale are we looking at more?
I mean,
the new year,
I've done the slides. The slides are ready. I just need to share them with you, Andre, and check that what I've said is actually accurate. And then I think we were saying that we wanted to wait until it was actually ready to launch and everybody will be using it. So yeah.
Nobi, you have a comment on this?
Yeah, sorry to draw you guys back, but why are you using the archive tool? So I discussed it with Vanny. There's actually no space for comments. Usually in the onboarding work group, we usually post the minutes of the meeting in the onboarding channel so that members can check to see if the minutes is accurate. But I don't know if it's possible using the archive tool.
I think what I was saying to you in Discord is that it might just be a slightly different way of doing that, so that whoever's documenting posts the documentation, and then members of the work group will also have, you log in with your Discord account. So members of the work group will be able to go in and check. And if somebody sees something that is wrong, then they can correct it and make a new, and it's always the most recent version that shows. But there might be some questions which I think Andre and I have to thrash out about which version. Say, like, for example, if you put a version and then Sucra comes in and sees something missing and corrects it, do you see her corrected version, or do you just see your own version? And I think what we worked out when I spoke to Andre is that yes, you do, so it's all right.
Yes, yeah. If you're not happy with the new version, then you can also choose the previous previous version.
So I guess it's just a change from sharing a document and people commenting on a document to commenting in the tool.
Yeah,
Does that answer your question, Nobi?
I think
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
for maybe it can get better in the future, especially if UBO focuses on the AI side of things, and I have to focus on this, then I can keep
Also,
making improvements.
And I suppose also it's going to come out of testing the workflow as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Right. Okay. Yeah, was a little discursus on that, but we finish on the publicising?
I think you were right when you said let's not put an update because it's still as it stands. I've done the slides, they're ready, but we just need to present it when the tool is sort of ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's standing, then I'll just do that one. Bounties. Let's see. There's a lot of discussion on this.
Well, now there is a thing here about, the bounties that we agreed for this quarter are the people who have been testing the meeting summary templates, not the tool itself, but the templates. And I think what we still need to do with that is get back to them all and ask them for a quick conversation about how it worked and if they saw any sticking points so we can feed that back into the development with Andre. Now, I could chase them, but I sort of wondered if on Yika it would be something you would fancy doing.
Can you come again?
Sorry, what did you say?
And Nika, would you be up for chasing people for feedback on their meeting summary templates?
All right.
We'll talk about it outside the meeting if I DM you. But it's basically going to be, let's see, Tivo, Rojo, Slate, yourself, because you've been doing it as well, and Sukra. Yeah, and so it's just a matter of just having a quick conversation with them and going, have they got any feedback?
All right.
Nice one. And then once we've got that information, we can compile it into some little notes that we can share when we do that after town hall about the meeting summary tool. Just go, oh, this is what people found with these templates. And then we need to pay people who have been testing. I think the agreed amount is $50 as a kind of flat fee for each person who's tested meeting summary templates.
Right. Okay.
So it'd be good to get that distributed before the end of the year, wouldn't it? Before the end of the quarter.
Okay. Is that a task that you and Nuobi are doing then?
Well, I'll talk to Onyeka outside this meeting. If we can DM, then we can sort it out. And yeah, I think what's the oh no, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so we have some tasks there for bounties. I'll move on from there. Well, that was related to this, presumably, the guidance notes templates for meeting summaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of, maybe they should be, yes, okay. So
And I think it's good to keep those two issues separate because bounties will comprise more than just that. But yes.
Okay.
Oh God, I haven't spoken to Fly about workgroup templates. I said I was going to. Bugger. All right, I'll do that after this meeting.
Okay. the archive Git book, these are, so I'll take these as a group, Vanessa, or do you want me to
Well, no,
talk-
take October 1st, because I think it
Yeah.
can be closed. If you just open it up and
Yeah.
scroll to the bottom where I've noted the ones I had to chase, I think I've chased them all.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so quite successful for week 40. So, okay, so the where you ticked it, that's just where you have chased it and you've got a result from the work group.
Yeah, and even if we haven't got anything, I've ticked it as resolved. The one thing that comes out is for a while now, you know, when Kenichi came to a meeting a few meetings ago, he was like, yeah, I'm working on the past documentation that I haven't done and it needs to be edited. I've offered help with that, but he's kind of, you know, and I get it, you know, he's kind of okay with it because he'd have to spend more time telling me what he's doing than just the time it would take for him to do it himself. But yeah, I don't know, should we? I've said to him, do you want to just write it off if it's a lot of time? But he hasn't, he said no, he's still working on it. But it feels to me like it's a blocker for him.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's got, if anybody knows him or has any suggestions, you know, knows him better than I do, maybe it'd be worth having that conversation and just going, look, you know, is there anything anyone can do to help, or do you want to write it off? Oh, and also week 42. I don't know have we got archives yet? We haven't.
I've uploaded them. I haven't.
Oh,
I
you've
haven't-
done it. All right.
I haven't timestamped them and put them
Okay,
uploaded, so
no worries.
that's my bad. I am behind on that one, but yeah. So I just need to timestamp them and put them in the Git book. So then I'll come in here and tick this. But,
All right then.
Okay, so
But
is
yeah,
there-
has anybody got any thoughts on how to proceed with Writers Group?
I think that's a no.
Okay. Well, in that
Uh,
case, then I think, you know, for the past documentation, I'm just documenting it as no summary given for now. And if that changes, we can go back and do it retrospectively.
are these? Sorry, Peter, go on.
Quick check there. Do you plan on pinging him, or if it's
Oh
needed?
no, I have done. We've had a couple of conversations and he's kind of said he's working on it and he's got the documentation, but it's in a bit of a rough state. I have a feeling that he's being a bit perfectionist because he's a writer and he wants it to be well written. I don't know, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, from my mind, you should just then push it. I mean,
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah. I mean, I kind of have, but
Yeah, I think it's the evolution of how we get each other to do stuff, Peter. So, you know, because sometimes, you know, we push things, but we don't always. I mean, people forget, people are busy. So it's about perseverance, I suppose. On the notes here, are these historical notes, Vanessa, the not to archive ambassadors assembly and things like that?
yeah. Well, no, they're still accurate, I think.
They're still accurate, so they're kind of just like for reference. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Now that is a thing actually. I need to speak to her about it, but I've noticed that Judith is actually starting to post a little summary for Deep Funding Town Hall,
All right.
which is excellent. But we need to make, you know, I want to make sure that if she is going to do that regularly, she gets recompensed for it somehow. So maybe that needs to go through the Deep Funding Focus Group or whatever. But when I mentioned it to Jan, he was like, yeah, there is a budget for running the Deep Funding Town Hall, which is, you know, has gone to that team. So I assume,
Exactly. Like
you know, I
when
assume that she's getting paid for it, is she?
when she does it for Ambassadors Town Hall, that's a different topic, I think.
Yeah.
She does this, but for Deep Funding Town Hall, there we have own budgets for it. So
Right.
this budget is decoupled from Ambassadors program.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's appropriate to archive that in the archive work group because there's some crossover, or what do people
I think
think on
just
that?
that we talked about it ages ago, and I know there's a lot of text in this particular issue, but I think we said that, yeah, it would be nice to have deep funding town halls, you know, if somebody wanted to do a quick documentation. I think it might be in the bounties one, because we were thinking, oh, well, could it be a bounty? And then we were saying, oh, it probably shouldn't come out of this work group because it's like separate.
And
But
going
yeah, I mean, what I'm doing at the moment is posting the videos in the archive. But if there is a summary, then I think it's nice to include it.
and going forward, what meeting template would that use?
I mean, I think it's probably the minimalist one.
Right. And that could lend itself to I suppose another reason why it might be worth doing if there's cross references which can be discovered through AI as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what I'll do is I'll DM Judith and see if she fancies trying out using the tool or even just using a meeting summary template for it. And she might go, nah, it's separate. So you take what I post and you just do what you will with it, which is fine. I don't mind that.
So I'll put that note onto the November one then, or you want to
Okay.
discuss? Oh, hold on. We wanted to close October now.
Yeah, I think October's
okay, because that's okay. There's that one. And if I go to disappear, maybe disappear on its own accord. So yeah, do you want to cover November then, or
I mean, I'm really behind with November because I've been
Yeah.
super busy. So this time I haven't just left it sitting in Discord. I have got it saved elsewhere. So I just need to upload it to Gitbook. But yeah.
But I'll put that note about you to talk to who? So who are you going to talk to?
Judith.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Okay. Deep funded town hall documentation. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Felix, do you happen to know if she's planning to do that regularly? I saw a couple of meetings kind of with a little summary, but
Yep, this is something we plan to do regular.
ace.
And also included into the deep funding town hall expansions when we now team up with WADA and Africa Town Hall. And Latam and also in discussion with the Eastern Town Hall to have this regular summaries of all the town halls. And Jan would really love, and Raphael, they would love to have these summaries and all the recordings also on the deep funding portal. So using the deep funding portal for all the updates, announcements, registration, to join Zoom calls, registration for sign up breakout rooms on deep funding portal itself. So to have this one single source of truth for all stuff deep funding town halls.
So this
the
is kind of like the same issue as we were talking about before about copying things over from that Gitbook. So yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Okay, coll. That will stay open because we're still just about in November. Okay, the budgets. I created a new one last time for Q1, but we're not there yet. We're now in Q4. Is a task then to do a end of quarter report now?
I've added that as a separate issue.
Right.
Quarter report.
This issue is just for any budget issues that come up in Q4 in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one is for, okay, so this one here is just, we're not there yet, so we're not going to discuss any Q1 issues. But the one you're referring to is the quarterly report for Q4 here, and you've
Yes.
You've drafted the document.
I was going to say though about the budget for Q1. Do we need to have any conversations about what work we're planning to do in Q1? Because we presumably will have to start thinking about submitting a budget. So
yeah,
maybe async people could add to this issue. Anything that they think will need to be done. I mean, there's obviously going to be some changes. Hopefully the tool will be working, so there will be a reduction in the cost of the actual monthly archiving, because that will be automated, but there will still be some checking that needs to be done. You know, bits and bats like that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Reduction in the monthly cost of archiving. But I mean, I suppose that, well, that'd be interesting to see, because how much that'll be offset by the use of the tool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
And then, maybe the development stuff, maybe we need, if you're, the tool is built, but that's just a first step, I think, Andre. And I think, we had other ambitions for development. And if Ubio is interested, maybe we need to think about budgeting there for his input as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put those notes there. But if anyone's got, I mean, any further comments in there to put there to just so that we remember, so that we can, because we'll have to start considering this soon, aren't we? So
Can you add update governance skipbook as we discussed earlier? We can just note that as something that goes in Q1.
but yeah, we're going to need to consider that more detail. I suppose the standout thing there is the tool, the use of the tool, but which I suppose we need to cover. I mean, we may how people use it, how it's tested, how it's implemented, and then how we further develop it, particularly Andre with working with EBO and so on, and then as the governance skipbooks. Okay, so right. Moving on to the quarterly report for Q4. Should I open this draft?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, do you want to talk us through this, or?
Yeah, what I've done, I mean, slightly differently, I've headed it with what we said in the Q3 report we were planning to do in Q4, and I've just kind of ticked off what we have done and left blank what we haven't. And then after that, I've taken the same structure as we used before, with just listing under different headings that match the headings in the problems board, the work that we've done.
Okay, so archiving other parts of the SNET ecosystem. So
yeah, we said at the end of Q3 that we would look at this in Q4, and yeah, we haven't really done much of that, so I think it's something that will go to Q1 next year.
right, okay. And we're going to carry over our deep funding proposal, or is that resubmit a deep funding proposal?
I don't necessarily think that we will. I think we might look to fund some of that tagging in,
right,
Q1 out of our budget. So
yeah, I mean, is there I last I heard there was there might be a kind of a reformatting of the deep funding. Is that right? Or different kind of categories and things? Or
Not reformatting, but they go a little bit with the idea of maybe trying different kinds of funding rounds.
that's
So,
it.
for example, one which could be strictly tied to only RFPs, for example, and simply experimenting with different models. Say,
Yeah.
okay, we have this initial funding round, which are cool, but what else could there be? And simply to experiment with this. I think so far, I think it's nothing planned for this year. I think if there's something kicking off, then early next year, something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think this might be out of scope of our quarterly report, though. What we're reporting on is what we said we'd do, and did we do it? And one of the things we said we'd do was hopefully be funded to carry out that specific proposal, and we weren't funded. So we just
Right.
need to say that.
okay. So that needs to be updated to say we weren't funded, but
No, it's there because it's not ticked. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I suppose this is like to be ticked, to be verified. Then the work that we undertook, the meetings and development and so on.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know that we need tick boxes for this. We can just say that.
Yeah,
this
we did. We did it. We did
And
it.
as long as we've included links to prove it, then
Yeah. Oh, I see. So this is actually the work that we've done, and then the links.
that's
are there
right.
to
That's why it
verify.
says this is the work we done.
No, I know. I'm just just saying
I'm kidding.
for the benefit of the camera.
So what you could do, Stephen, is you could just take the tick boxes off.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure if I can do this on. Oh, I can. Look at that. Amazing. Editing in action.
And maybe make them into bullet points instead for tidiness.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to. Yeah, maybe after the meeting, it's probably better
Yeah.
to do that. Yes. Yeah.
If you just highlight the lot and then convert it to a bullet point instead of a.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'll do it.
I'm of course fiddly doing a couple of things at once on this computer.
I know.
Okay. So you've got all the activities listed through.
Well, I think so. What I'm hoping we could just have a quick look at is, can anybody think of any that I've not captured?
Meetings. So the meetings are the regular meetings that are archived. Our use of GitHub board, which we use to do these stand-ups, but then also we update it asynchronously. We were using Notion for exporting budget data, but then we figured out how to do it natively through GitHub. Maybe I should change that.
Yeah, should add that then. Yeah.
We actually do budget exports native. Oh, God. The way we do that is by categorizing a issue in a milestone from by categorizing an issue as under a budget milestone, and then that is then exported via CSV. Okay, but just put that in as a note.
So we should delete the bit about Notion because we don't.
Yeah, because we were going to use that, but then it was better to do it natively. Okay, and that's how we can then do export. We could do projections as well. I'm not sure if you want to mention that, but
yeah, we should. Yeah. I mean, it's work that's been done, isn't it?
I'm not sure if that's going to be in meetings or maybe we should have a budget section. I'm not sure.
Have we got a budget section on the GitHub board? We haven't, have we? We haven't got a label. I was trying to shape it according to the labels, but it doesn't.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
No, but we do have issues for the budget, so yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I see your point. We could add maybe we should have a label for I think actually. Yeah, label for budget or administration maybe, but yeah. And then on developments, continued research into LLMs and AIs, as Andres referred to there, and continuing building the interface tool with links to the issues there.
Should I add the repo under that section?
Oh yeah, please. I should make sorry, my screen's playing up and I can't actually change the access.
No, I've got access.
Oh, have you? Oh yeah, of course I
Yeah.
did, didn't I?
Cool. Cool.
That's the link for I've just put in the chat for anybody who wants to have a look.
Right.
I mean, I've said finished building an interface. I think by the end of December that will be true, right, Andre?
Yeah, sure. Pretty
Yeah.
much done. It's just the final improvements.
Okay. And then archives management is oh, I see, this is meetings. Okay. That's archive meetings, and then yeah, okay. And then archive management is the updating the Git book, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Planning to do a full update of the Ambassador's Git book before the end of the year.
okay.
So,
And the community engagement, the bulk of that work, so I'm looking at, is has been, as we discussed before, through the engagement on meeting summary templates, work group leads mostly, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And we could probably say something like I'll make that a little bit better worded.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's going to lead into in Q4 or Q1. Is it, should it be Q4 or Q4?
You're right.
Q1 2024, I mean, will be, I suppose we need to reference the testing and implementation of the tool. So I suppose we need some work there, as we've discussed as well, yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking that will be completed up here, where we've said
Right.
at the top under development, finished building an interface. I think, yeah.
I suppose I'm thinking more of, yeah, I mean, we have done that, but it's more the what happens next. It's like how it's
Yeah.
used. And, you know, as I'm sure, you know, I bet Andre probably could appreciate, once you use something, issues will arise potentially, either through the process or changes to the tool. So it's like kind of, right, that's what I'm thinking, yeah. Ongoing testing of process and function, you know.
Yeah.
And then I suppose, as Andres just referred to, plans for Q1 include potentially adding some AI stroke LLM functionality.
Well, the thing is, what I've got here is the unsuccessful deep funding bid. I think in Q1 we need to maybe find, you know, because we don't know when there's going to be another, you know, the next deep funding round. I think we could actually do a significant amount of useful tagging
Right.
with our budget and, you know, engage the community that way and develop bounties that way.
Right.
And that would give a basis for the work that we're thinking would come next with AI's LLMs, right?
Yeah, I suppose it makes more sense from a community engagement and also from a data management perspective. Yeah, so is to shift resources to tagging, as you say, Vanessa. You know, so
Yeah, I also think that's a good idea.
Okay, and also it complements what you're going to need that in place. The richer the data, the more categorized the data through tagging, the easier or the more effective you'll be able to train it for AI functionality. That's right, Andre.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think we should also probably have in our plans for Q1, as you say, you know, there will be more than just tagging. So, you know, we need to, even if we don't complete the work in Q1, which I think is probably we won't, we need to have something about what we're going to look at. the other thing with the archives backlog, I think we talked about this in the last meeting about tidying up. Looking back at the archive submissions that I've already done and doing things like, you know, making sure that action items and decision items are tagged as such, and it will just make it more searchable. So whereas the actual archiving will be automated, there will be work to do on that, I think.
I suppose a way to zoom out of this and to sort of is really to kind of refine the corpus that we're building up, really,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah. And so this year, what we did was set up the archive work group. We started experimenting with archiving in the Git book. We started experimenting with LLMs, and then Andre, you started building your tool. With that, work is coming to completion, and what will that lead to in 2024 is to try to realize the the promise of that, which is to provide a corpus which can be then interpreted through an LLM and tick our kind of hope for AGI AI output, I suppose. Yeah. So it is progressing from a strategic perspective there. Do you have any, is this the kind of quarterly report that would be good for you, Peter?
Well, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
Don't have a full overview, but yeah, yeah, definitely. That's the end goal in a way.
Yeah. And because these quarterly reports are sort of meant to assist with, I suppose, that kind of could be communicated to Foundation or whatever, So, yeah, that's the aim for the quarterly report, and to put things into a bigger context, I suppose, to see why we have an archives work group, what we're trying to achieve, how the budget's being used. Yeah.
Yeah, so just for a bit of context on what I mean with end goal, like ideally, I would a similar report like this would happen for every work group and then feed into a ambassador program wide report, which gives a bit of a high level overview and then linking to these more deep insights.
I suppose that's more for the ambassadors program as a whole. I suppose I'm thinking, like from your position on, we are part of the ambassadors program, but I suppose it's like this is our contribution to demonstrating what the ambassador program achieves. So I suppose that can be done in different ways. It can be done through quarterly reports, but as you say, I suppose that's up for the ambassadors community to decide.
I mean, one thing I will say is that we've been talking about a quarterly report in the onboarding work group as well. And I kind of used this as a template when I started writing one. And I realized that because we're quite a different kind of work group, there's different things that need to be added. So, I mean, it's obvious that I guess that templating is not, it needs to vary. But yeah, it's just to say that whilst this could be something that people could start working, as a template to work from, they will change it. So I think that's a good thing. And I'm also thinking, I wonder if in the projection at the end, my idea about this is that we should be, as a community, we should be using the work that we want to do to help us project our budgets. So should we be putting costs against the things at the end?
As a kind of appendix, do you think? Or
Well, no, where we've got our plans for Q1 2024, should we put costs against these things?
Yeah, well, we can do projection. We can, and we're set up for that now, actually. So if you look here under milestones, we could start planning here, so we could start creating issues for these things. We need to sort out how that's going to look, so. But then, sorry, hold on a second. Someone's at the. I just have to.
Yeah, so I think that might be quite an interesting approach, and we could link it to issues that have not yet started and put a link to the issue in the report. I just wondered, is it overly rigid, you know, because you never know what's going to happen, do you? Has anybody got any thoughts about how far ahead how much you want to project ahead?
I would say there's a lot of freedom there. 1 quarter feels somewhat manageable, but at the same time, yeah, if you have longer term stuff to work towards then yeah, the more info, the better.
Oh, badly phrased question. I just meant how. I suppose I'm thinking about managing the issue of if you say, oh, we're going to do this, and then you don't, and your budget has been based on the idea that you are going to do it. Is there any sort of change request shit that has to be done, or can we be a bit more loose about it?
Sorry about that. I was just picking up a parcel, so I'm back.
Well,
But
so I don't have to define a fully defined answer there. I wish there was more structure in place to have a straightforward answer to this.
I mean, I don't know. I think it might be more overhead than is needed. It sort of feels to me like, yeah, having a quarterly report in which you say something about what you're hoping to do in the next quarter is good, but having some kind of idea of what you think it's going to cost and basing your budget request on that is good. But then making it too rigid of like, oh, you didn't do exactly that, you changed it slightly, so therefore you have to put in some kind of complicated change request. That might be too much at the moment. So I don't think I'm advocating for that, but I just wondered what other people thought.
I mean, in general, there seems to be what I'm hearing from you, Peter, is there seems to maybe be an inclination to put for all work groups to do some kind of quarterly report. Now, how that looks could be flexible, and that would include the kind of the content that we're including, but really just to it just be a helpful way to say what a work group has done and achieved in a quarter, and also that feeds into presumably budget requests. The end of that as well, would you say that it is helpful to know what our work groups plan for the quarter coming up is useful as well?
I'm not sure why that's of course that's useful to know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm something, but yeah, the more that is known for the better, right?
I suppose it's a question of how the ambassadors program wants to. I mean, again, it's not up to us; it's up to the ambassadors program. You see, I suppose from the archives perspective, we are quite happy to do what we're doing as a kind of best practice, and then hopefully, you know, that can maybe inform how the rest of the program goes ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Lisa, how many work groups are actually submitting quarterly reports? Is it most of them? Because it's just occurred to me that they should probably be in the archive, shouldn't they?
Well, for Q3, there was only 3 or 4, I believe.
That's quite a few, I guess.
Yeah. You got good.
I was hoping for more, to be honest.
To be honest, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a kind of a balance between. I mean, you've got a good point there, Vanessa, about archiving. There's no confidentiality issues, is there? It's kind of a public document, something. So it might be a good idea to archive them, because also it would show how the organization of work groups is evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting, you know, from an archival point of view, what somebody has done, summarized all like that is quite a nice thing to have in there.
I think it's also about lessons learned, I think, is that in a decentralized environment, you know, things can seem to move quite slowly, but so it's interesting to capture how that has happened. Like, so if we've had some quarterly reports, then that is, that's progress, So if you like, well, that's indicative of how the ambassadors program has developed. Yeah. And if people can reference that, then it may encourage further development of that or something else, and then again, that can be archived and show how the ambassadors program has its history, how it's developing. And I suppose that's part of the point of what we're trying to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Just occurred to me then, should a quarterly report include a section, not just lists of we've done this, we've done that, but what we've learnt? I mean, obviously I'm just suggesting that maybe we do that, and maybe it isn't applicable to some work groups, so they wouldn't do it, but it might be applicable.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because it provides context. I'll just type that in there.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, because there's always the question of why you do things, isn't there? And
never ask that.
Never ask that, So, we're just producing a quarterly report because it looks good. It's not about, it's about, communication. It's about saying what we're doing and also what we've learned, so that is helpful. Again, if we can archive this for all the other work groups that have done that, then that can maybe, set a pattern going forward as well,
Mhm.
Okay. Is there, I'm just going back to a bit distracted from what I was doing. Okay, so we were at the quarterly report. Is there anything else we'd like to discuss on that? Thanks for doing that, Vanessa, as well. By the way.
worries. Yeah, there is something that I'd like to discuss, and that is, are we meeting in 2 weeks or is it too close to Christmas? I think there's something to be said for having a proper break.
Hey,
I mean, it'll be what will it be? The 13th.
of December, yeah, that's a bit.
And I kind of feel like, people might be starting to wind down by then.
Yeah. Well, what are other people's thoughts? You like to have a break or concentrate more on asynchronous work, Andre?
Yeah, look, we are gonna work on, the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So
It's also Anika's birthday, so we can't. we have,
Oh, right.
we have to. Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
In advance, yeah.
That kind of means you're not going to be here, so
Yeah.
all the more reason not to.
yeah,
So-
one last meeting is always welcome, right?
So to resume in January, you would say?
Yeah, because the one after that is like the 27th, which is a definite no, I think.
Okay.
So it's going to be what?
I don't have a calendar to hand here.
It'll be the 10th of January.
Okay. Any thoughts on that from people? I'm just trying to follow comments. Okay, I'll leave that as decided. Hold on. See you, Felix.
Bye, Felix.
Okay, we do have one more issue. The ambassador's kit book.
Yeah, I think that is just on. I mean, I think I've said I'm going to try and do sort of major update, and I've started noting things that need to go in there. So I guess anybody who wants to add anything in that list, just go in and add them.
Right.
Add it.
Okay.
Oh, actually, while you've got it open, what do people think about linking to these cards that people have been using? I sort of feel like they might be a little bit temporary, and I don't know how long they're really gonna be used. But maybe I'm wrong.
All right. Okay. I'm not. Any input on the use of cards and archiving them?
I mean, I can just link to ones that I'm aware of, I guess.
Yeah, I think at some point we'll have a card of cards.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a link to it is fine, but also don't make it top priority because it really depends. I think, for example, this for video work group, I think that remains valid for quite some time. Like I don't see this running out. It's just a bunch of relevant links.
Yeah.
So technically all the stuff on there is probably in the archive already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't see downside of archiving it, but yeah, don't make it like a super strong hassle to weekly check for updates and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I can probably embed the card in,
Yeah, you probably can. Yeah.
and then it looks visually quite nice, and
Yeah.
it will update if somebody updates the card. So yeah.
Yeah, the only thing to be careful there is, again, if you really want, if there's any data you want to be persistent, then, you know, because as we know from embedded, I learned this lesson the hard way from if we just embed documents, all that has to happen is the original document has to be moved or deleted, and you know you lose it. So you have to just make sure that anything critical, anything that really has to be archived is archived.
Yeah, as an archivist, I would never have thought of that.
I'm just talking to the camera again, please.
No, but yeah, I think I'm envisaging updating, you know, the archives work group has kind of got responsibility to update the ambassador's Git book every so often. So I'm kind of thinking every 6 months, and also, you know, keeping an eye on it. So yeah, I mean, this could also be a bounty at some point, you know, for somebody to.
Does it complement onboarding, or?
I think it might, yeah. Because, you know, the onboarding work group kind of has taken on responsibility for the getting started document. And I think a lot of the content of the ambassador's Git book is going to be stemming from that. So.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose, so incorporate bounty incentives.
Yeah, maybe that's something to look at for Q1 next year.
I mean, again, I suppose it comes back to this issue of what is the single source of truth? You know, how, you know, where do you go to find information, really? So, and again, so that may be a subject actually, or the ambassador's Git book may be a subject of the knowledge base as well. So yeah, I'll put that in there.
Oh, speaking of that, the conversation we were just having about quarterly reports, maybe that's a knowledge-based thing as well.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. I'll just close that issue. Okay, we're now at the end there. Is there any other business or issues that people want to raise? Okay.
Who's going to do the document of this meeting using the tool?
I suppose that's my responsibility.
I suppose it is.
And yeah, so I'm gonna be a guinea pig, aren't I? Really?
You are. Yeah.
And it's been decided that I have to follow a certain template. Is that right?
Yeah, we've decided it for you.
Yeah.
It's there, isn't it, Andre, in the tool now? The sort of fairly minimal. I think it's the narrative one, isn't it?
For the archive.
Yeah. Because I think we had the full archival template, and then when we had a conversation, we said we were going to change it to the more minimal one.
Oh shit.
Oh, no, right.
Okay.
I didn't do that update. That's the one I didn't do. Yeah.
Okay. So what will it be? Will it? Well,
it was decisions and action
I
items,
can-
basically. It was like a focus on those, because everything else is documented in the project board, but for actually putting in the archive, we need
Ah,
decisions and action items. That's it,
I
really.
can quickly do it because it's not that hard to do it. Or it can be done in less than an hour.
Oh, nice one, if you've got time.
Yeah. Then I'll let you know when it's done, Stephen.
okay, it would be this simple.
So it's just the
Um,
narrative.
What's it called? Is it called the simple template?
For,
It's based on the narrative template, but it don't really matter what you call it.
yeah.
Just so that I know.
All right.
So yeah. I'm getting used to this laptop. Okay, the meeting template will be narrative template and list. What will it list? Did you say decisions?
Decisions and action items. And obviously there's the like things like who was present and who documented and what have you.
Right.
yeah.
Other content will be on board. Okay. Other content will be.
I mean, when you're doing it, I don't know if you want to include links to individual relevant issues on the board, but I think
Yeah.
the overkill, it's up to you. I think it's more about just if there's a link to the board somewhere, that's probably enough.
I suppose I'm just a test case.
You
So
are.
Once you've done the template, Andre, can you DM me? And then
Yes. Yeah.
what I'll
Yeah,
do
well-
is, and then I'll run through and see how it works, basically, and then we have something to get. Yeah, that'll be a test case, basically. I'll as to your question, Vanessa, I'll see.
Mm,
My gut would be yes, I would link to issues,
okay.
but it depends on how the tool works. So
I mean, when you've got it set up, I wonder if it's worth deleting one of the, like the last summary and doing that again through the tool. And then Onyeka can speak to you about any feedback that you've got and we can collect it's all a little circular, but you know what I mean? It's good to have that feedback. So,
yeah. I mean, it's good that it says some separation there, so that I'm responsible for the project management and the project board, so that I can then be a test subject here. So that is good. So yeah, basically, Andre, I'll be testing that template. So using the by archiving this group. Yeah. Okay. And that is the end of the meeting. I'll update. Well, I just said it. We'll update the meeting using the new method and see how that goes. I'll stop sharing the board now and stop recording if I can find the button.